Thank you very much, and thank you, Jorgen. So it's a pleasure to be here today, and looking forward to the drinks afterwards. Like everybody here, like that made it is like a complete warrior that actually was able to, go through the storm. So it's gonna be fun. So. For us, we have a pleasure. I'm Jose de Cabo. I'm one of the founders of Olapik, and we're a technology company, and we are working with brands, trying to help them connect with their consumers and to innovate around content. So today we have the pleasure of having NH Hotels, which is going to be sharing with us what they've done and how they've been using the technology in their unique way to solve some of their content problems in delivering fast, scalable, and relevant visual content. So Juan is going to go through some of the challenges, the solution, and then some of the learnings. Because in the end, this is a new field that we're innovating. Each customer is doing their own take around it. And I think this sharing among marketers and designers, I think it's quite powerful to generate new ideas and move the space forward. So before we bring Juan to the stage, I want to walk you through why we started to build Olapik, and to walk you through the customer journey, because I think every single of the brands and marketers in the room, they're actually looking into this field on how to innovate. So this changed everything. The phone, before it was quite easy as a marketer. You had from awareness, consideration, and purchase. So it was a linear funnel. So it was quite straightforward to build the marketing campaigns for each of the stages and bring the customers along the way and have an easy customer journey. Right now, it's a really different game. The customer goes in and out, inside the brand and outside, multiple ways, and we've seen it in multiple of the presentations. It's all about which channel are you using, and representing the brand in each one of those channels, because you can be as a consumer finding out about a brand, and you find out in Instagram or on Pinterest, and then you forget about it, and then after you find out and you get retargeted, and you go into the desktop, and then you go into the store, and that journey is completely broken. You go in and out and can become an advocate of a brand even before being a customer, which is quite powerful. So to distill it down, how we're seeing this, the challenge for creatives and for marketers, is that if we have the channel from awareness, consideration, purchase, retention, advocacy, there's hundreds of different touch points for each customer. So those touch points, they have different, it represents an opportunity to send a message and to have an interaction. Each one of those interactions can be, and in the old days everything was built by or created, every piece of content created by an agency. Now brands are building as well, their own channels, their own teams internally, and they're building content internally, which is great in a combination of the two. And what we believe at Olapik is that there has to be also content that is actually created by the consumer, because the consumer can tell the story as well as the brand sometimes. So those are the parts that we're trying to combine. Obviously, there is not, in each of the customer journeys, it has to be all sorts of content, and each brand, will need more of, own creative content or paid creative content, and it will depend. But whenever we speak to the end consumer, and we do a report every year at Olapik, what we found out is that a staggering 76% of consumers prefer a photo or a video that is created by a complete random stranger, but is another consumer. They prefer that than content that is created by a brand and pushed to them as advertising, which is quite powerful to see. 66% are saying that they would stop working with a brand if they feel they're treated as a number. So that personalization and communication one-on-one is becoming critical. And the stat that is going every year a little bit lower, well, which I think everyone can relate to, is that only 6% of consumers now trust the traditional advertising, which is something that is going lower. So that is the challenge that we all, as marketers and representing brands, we need to go and try to try to tackle. The opportunity on the other side is thinking about how to tackle it from different perspectives. Today we're going to hear from NH Hotels on the earned content piece, which is mainly like how to get the consumer to represent the brand and that content that they're creating to be able to amplify it and share it. But there is also, you can work, and we have many brands working with influencers to generate content. So that's another piece that we call paid or influencer generated content, which is that red part of the cycle, and then own content created by the actual brand, which is quite powerful. Which I think there's some examples shown on how can we create from photos that the brand has generated, how can we create short format video around it. So that's the fascinating part of working with right now over 600 brands, is that because it's not only in travel, but we work a lot in beauty, in fashion, in CPG. We learn different things of how our technology is used by a different brand. And at the end, like what we're doing is building and collaborating and co-creating with our customers and building what is the next need to improve how content is generated. So. Juan comes from Spain, and he has come on a plane today. So please, help me welcome him with a round of applause.
Hi everyone. Good evening. I'm Juan Villeiro from Untitled Group. Thanks to Monotype people, everyone that let me be here today talking. I will talk about Untitled Group and a 3-year journey that ended today, at least, and some things about our user-generated content journey. Some of you may know Untitled Group, others don't. We are a Spanish brand at headquarters in Madrid. We are a hotel chain. We have several brands. We are present in 30 countries, more or less. More than 400 hotels, so it's quite a big, a complex ecosystem. We have marketing teams in Madrid, Berlin, Amsterdam, Mexico, Bogota, so close around the world. So, trying to develop a user-generated content with this starting point is something that needs to be considered because, we've also trying to have the culture of drive innovation. We've been one of the first international hotel chains having Wi-Fi not only on the common spaces but also in the rooms. We are developing new projects so you can online check in and check out of the hotel. We're developing new brands. For example, these images are user-generated content from the Pinky, now Berlin hotel with the lovely guitar room service. A lot of weird things we are currently doing and really lovely. This really complex ecosystem, we also need to consider the social ecosystem, which is also really complex. We are having more and more channels, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, millions of followers, 8,000 posts in a year across all brands, all countries. What works in Madrid doesn't work in Latin America, doesn't work in Germany, so we need to consider a lot of things. And that was, I think, our main point. And we think we started with something really complex, and we find a solution to try to manage this complexity, making us more agile and develop fresh and authentic kind of content in a really fast way. So we have this challenge, you need to keep selling, and we need to keep making our marketing messages relevant and fresh to the market, to everyone, depending the target of each brand, and with this all complexity. So what we thought on 2015, we've been asking ourselves, and it's something really good you need to make from time to time, to ask yourself questions. I tried to challenge the status quo and said, why not? Maybe there's other ways to make things, And we've been thinking, okay, the smartphones are exploding. Everyone is with a camera, a really high, powerful camera on the pocket, going to the hotels. And the experience at the hotel is being more and more shared. We've been all, I think, in that moment, having a dinner with someone that takes 5 minutes to take the perfect Instagram picture. And, people are sharing more and more content. And we said, okay, there's something going on here because maybe we can use this content, asking rights to the people who is going to the hotel so we can use it. And the thing is that, until that time, until 2015, on social media, on our own media, we used the usual pixel perfect kind of photo shooting images. You will see upwards the lovely NH collection Roma Palazzo 500 next to Termini Station. Really lovely. But you know, meanwhile, the guests were taking other kinds of images, that one you see below, which is a user-generated content image, the same place, the same breakfast, another point of view. So we thought, okay, we should make a test. And in 2015, we've done a test. And we said, okay, let's look the numbers, and we will see what performs better in terms of engagement rate, which was a main KPI. And we will see stock image versus user-generated content image. And we've done the test. The results, both brands and different platforms, Facebook, Twitter, NH Hotels, NH Collection, is that people seem to prefer user-generated content, that branded image. I think that doesn't mean that the photo shooting kind of images doesn't work. I think it works, but in the different time of the path to conversion. I mean, maybe it's not the most inspiring kind of image, but it works on a functional way later on when you want to see the bathroom or the views from the room. But for inspiring, I think it works better, the user-generated content. So I had the numbers, and I go to my bosses and said, we have the numbers, and we think that we have something here because something works going on. And what we saw is that we found some triggers on the guest experience on the hotels that people love to share. And there were some things that people prefer to share and to take images from others. So for example, the sleepers. We all want to take sleepers home, and probably a lot of people do it. And we also share it on Instagram. We all love it. We love the sleepers and the bathrobes. Lovely lamps, for example, this case of Lucifer lamp at the NH Collection Madrid Abascal. It was an amazing lamp. And this is like from the entrance on the hotel. So you come in and you get shocked. So, you know, an interior designer, I think, can influence the amount of images that a hotel can be shared or less shared. So, and also this from our Pinky Now Berlin hotel. You know, you go to the corridor, you go out of the elevator, and you find this thing. So you love to share it. And I think I've seen this corridor from all the social media filters in colors perspective possible. So it's quite amazing. So, you know, we've got the numbers, and I went to my bosses and said, currently for this test, we request the rights in a manual way. So it was a really time-consuming, and we need to consider all the markets. Some people speak Italian, some people speak Dutch, some people speak German, others Spanish. So we need to make something or to find a partner that help us to automate and to make it bigger and to make it on a scale, because, you know, we have 500 hotels, so it's quite big. So we found Olapic, and it was a perfect marriage because we found that we've been able to automate, more or less, semi-automate with a template, the rights request. So we've been able to try to make something on a scale. And also we've been able to integrate it, not only on social media, but also on other channels from our marketing department. So it started to make sense and to gain us some kind of speed. That was something really being talked about today, about the speed and how being able to be agile, more or less, in a more complex world, you know, with different countries, brands, platforms, etc. I love this dog image. It's amazing, on the NH Trento in Italy. So, you know, we started doing integrations. This is amazing. This is on the left, fieldextraordinary.com, which is one of our websites to discover NH Collection, which is one of our newest brands. And you will see, for example, here a gallery with some user-generated content. And you will see, for example, this image with the lovely entry hall from the NH Collection Venezia Palazzo Barocci. You will see the Venezia, I mean, it's amazing. So you see the image and you say, oh, I want to go to this place. So you will find a related link that will give you to the booking. So you are like covering all the funnel from inspiration to the booking in 3 steps. And it delivers on mobile and it works. So, you know, you can drive some curious and some discovery, and then later on gather the bookings and drive the inspiration to the hotel. Also, we've been integrating it to several emailings, the usual lovely I am here at the swimming pool kind of Instagram image we have already taken. And also the breakfast, for example, if you can share, if we have a promotion for free breakfast, we share the breakfast images that the guests have taken at our hotels. And I'm really proud because this was really recent. This was our last promotion. It went out 15 days, I think, ago, more or less. And this was one of our promotions, this Easter promotion. And this was our first promotion worldwide of any total group across all channels, banners, emailings, social ads, any kind of display at the hotel, that the main image that was powering this promotion was user-generated content. It was not a stock image, it was not a photo shoot in images, but was instead this lovely breakfast taken at NH Collection Roma Palazzo 500. So we are trying to get this natural kind of image across all the channels, and trust me, this was not really easy. So I am here today on this stage, but please, I want to give an applause, and I want to give an applause to all my colleagues of the marketing department that make this possible. That's for you guys. And you know, this thing of making content natural, we take in not only for user-generated content, but for other channels. For example, NH Hotel Group, we've opened new Instagram account with corporate content and talking about employer branding, you know, the usual things that are not really funny, you know, on social media, so you need to find a twist to make it interesting. And we said, why not? We do a takeover and we let our employees to tell their journey as employees on NH during 2 weeks. So the NH Hotel Group Instagram account is fully managed by our employees, and every 2 weeks we have a takeover. So, you know, it's kind of authentic content and not photo shooting, manage it directly from our employees. So we are like employees-generated content, more or less. And, you know, so we are gathering insights from here and trying to gather insights and apply it to new channels and new ways of communicating we are doing in the future. So we will see where we go. Other things, you know, we've been thinking, sorry, I think it was here. We've been thinking about this content exhaustion, and we've said, why not should we make also videos, because it's the same problem, you know, we need to communicate a lot of things, and we need to communicate it not only on photo, but also in image, and will be a way to make videos on a scale, changing some things, changing some languages, but in the end, making the same animated video. And we found Olapic, they have a solution, Content in Motion. We've been, I think, one of the first customers of Content in Motion, and we're really proud of that. And we've been, you know, making video content on scale, so we can use it on a lot of channels, on hotel displays, for example, or in this case, to show destinations, or to show meetings and events spaces. In this case, was a promotion, for example, showing several destinations, Barcelona, Madrid, etc. So we can show video and try against photo on several ads. So we've increased it, for example, our CTRs, etc., etc. And also, we've been using it, for example, on hotel displays to show new hotels, or in social media, for example. This is the lovely header we've developed it with, also with animating user-generated content, which is kind of nice. And I think that's everything. It's because of the content and how we can make content on scale in a complex environment, and always trying to make fresh, natural, and authentic content. And trust me, it's a really high challenge for a company, and specifically if you are used to get the pixel perfect kind of image, so you need a lot of discussions and a lot of data to convince sometimes. So that's where I am. What are we doing now, what we think about the future, and what are my main recommendations about this? I would say that currently we are, as I've said, putting user-generated content into more things, into more e-commerce pages, leveraging for more campaigns, also putting on digital display signage when you check in at the hotel and you're waiting for the check-in. In NH, I hope there's not too much time. And you see some images about the restaurant of the hotel or other things, so you will see also user-generated content of other people. For example, in this case, the lovely Amalfi hotel we have, which is the Instagram kind of perfect hotel, and other things you can experience while being our guest. And thinking about the recommendations about this, I think it will be mainly 3 things, and I've been thinking this slide quite a lot. The first of all, be curious. And someone said in this event this morning about we are all going to the same events, reading the same papers, and sometimes the challenge is in challenging the status quo and asking ourselves if, for example, because the technology is changing, maybe now we have a better way to make something that maybe 3 years ago was not possible. And now, because the technology is changing, now it's able to make it, and maybe at a cheaper cost because the technology changes. So, you need to be curious, you need to be innovative, and it's also a matter of culture, of letting people fail, because, for 10 times you fail, one, at least you make a win, or hopefully that. The second one, trust your gut, because, sometimes, as I've said, in 2015, we ask ourselves, we think user-generated content performs better, but our boss says, okay, but you need to give data to tell me that. So, because, we are persons, and every person has a different way of thinking about something. So you need to trust your gut, and then also have numbers, and try to test, and try to say, for example, this works perfectly on Instagram, but this, for example, doesn't work on Facebook, and try to know your audience and who is your audience, because sometimes you may get surprises about what kind of content your audience likes or not. Maybe you think your audience likes a perfect kind of content, and maybe you have data to show the other thing. And last but not least, I would say find relevant partners, because if you need to go further, you need to go together. And we don't have, for example, any developers in the marketing department, and we've been impossible to develop all the solutions that Olapic has in 3 years. So, with Olapic, we've been developing, getting feedback, and giving feedback about, guys, why don't you make this? Or they ask us about if they will find useful that. So, sometimes if you need to make a lot of things with impact in a short period of time, you need to know your weaknesses, and need to find partners to complement that vision, and I think that's really important. And specifically, trust in your partners and be confident about sharing that vision. And that's it. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.